at this point, you've seen a couple of examples of cut, fill, and combination cut and fill grading solutions. So in general, how should you approach any grading exercise for this class or in your professional life? Well, the first thing you need to do is to review your slope analysis that you just did, all right, or do one, and select a location for your building or your flat pad, all right, and set the finish grade of that flat pad. In theory, this can be at any height, but for this class, good practice is to select a grade that's 1/2 of a foot, all right, 1/2 foot above or below the whole number contour that you select, all right, and I'll show you those in a second. This is going to simplify the manipulation of your contours, all right. Next, you decide upon a grading approach, cut, fill, or both. All right, for this class, I'm either going to tell you directly which one you should use, all right, for your first couple of practices, all right, or you get to pick. Typically, it's most effective to use both cut and fill. Next, you're going to start manipulating and moving your contours to move around and away from that flat pad, all right, and we saw that in the examples. And keep in mind that grading is generally allowed within the setbacks and easements. You can grade all the way out to your property boundaries. Do not, in any case, all right, extend your grading past those property boundaries. Your modified contours cannot extend past the property boundaries because your neighbors will sue you, all right? You're not allowed to do any work past your boundaries. Let's compare these 3 different types of grading: cut, fill, and combination. All right, and here is what the cut looks like. If you have your existing grade here, you're going to remove earth in this section to create your flat area. All right. The fill is opposite. Here is your existing grade, and we're going to add earth right here to create your flat area. And finally, here is your combination cut and fill. Right, if this is our existing grade, we're going to cut away a little uphill and add a little downhill until we create that flat area. Notice in every case, the new or modified or proposed grade right here is steeper than the existing grade. This is necessary in order to meet the grade. Right here, we meet the grade. Right, it's mathematically and geometrically necessary. All right, this has to be steeper, right, or it will never catch and it will never reach. So meeting the grade is our term, our vocabulary term, all right, which describes the point at which the proposed grading ends, right? And in general, you should try to meet the grade as soon as possible in order to minimize grading, minimize cost, minimize disruption on the site. Right. So in the fill case, you meet the grade right here, and here is that steeper slope. Right. In this cut and fill combo, we have 2 points. We meet the grade right here, and then we meet it right here. Right. And remember that steeper, that modified slope in our course, we're going to use a slope of 1 and 3. How can you tell just by looking at a plan whether cut or fill is used? Turns out it's not that hard, all right? And let's take a look at this cut example. The important thing to note is that for every contour, the modifications are moving uphill, all right? So as the modified contours are uphill of your existing contour, that means we're cutting away the soil and cut is being used. Right? You can also easily note that they are uphill of the flat pad. Right? In your fill solution, notice that all of the modified contours are downhill from their existing location. That indicates that we're adding soil down the hill, and it's a fill solution. And finally, with the cut and fill, this is pretty obvious, all right? You can see it a little bit better here. Everything that is a cut solution on the uphill side, all right? The modified contours are on the higher side of their existing contour, all right? Everything kind of on the downhill side, the fill side, this modified contour right here is downhill from its existing location, meaning that we're adding soil. And now let's take a look at the finished elevation of the flat pad. Where should you set it on each of these kinds of solutions? Right? For the cut solution, you want to look at one contour below your flat pad and then add 1/2 foot. Right? For the fill solution, you want to look at one contour above your flat pad location and then go down 1/2 foot, all right, because you're downhill of that contour. And finally, for your cut and fill solution, you want to pick a contour that roughly goes through the middle, all right, of your flat pad, and then go 1/2 foot above that contour.